Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Kaylee and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be telling you a story time video about the most disgusting, putrid, and horrible restaurant that I've ever worked at. I will not be naming this restaurant for my own protection, even though I would really love to, but just to make sure that no one gets sick by going there. But for my own protection and so that I don't get sued, I hope you can understand. I took some photos on my last day on the job, and I'll be sharing them with you. So if you're squeamish, definitely click away because it's not for the faint of heart or the weak-stomached. So without further ado, I'm just going to start showing you some pictures and talking to you about what it's like to work there. So here is a picture of tomato juice in a jug. Nobody orders tomato juice, but the management orders big giant tubs, like big giant cans of tomato juice. So when someone orders it, you open a can and you have this as leftovers. Now, normally you would date tomato juice or anything that you open for however many days it takes to expire so that you know that something has gone off and you shouldn't serve it to customers. They don't do that. They don't do that for wine. Wine, I know, should be about 3 days shelf life after you've opened it. There is no dating on the wine, and not a lot of people order wine because it's a family breakfasty place. So if you were to get a glass of wine, for instance, it's probably more than 3 days old, unless it's the boxed wine, because there's boxed wine as well, which you wouldn't have to date because air doesn't get at the wine. So anyways, as you can see with this tomato juice, it's growing a small community there. It's definitely not servable and it's disgusting. I could go on about this, but I'm just going to move to the next picture. So this is another picture of the dish pit, so like the dishwashing area. Now this is what I came into in the morning, so that you know that that's been sitting all night. What kind of infestations would that create overnight, and bacteria and everything else. So, and you can also imagine the kind of dishes that come out of this dishwasher and like this dish area. For instance, in the morning when I'd be going to get someone a cup of coffee, I would have to pick up and examine the cup to make sure that it's clean. Now, that's what you would normally do anyway as a server, but at this place, I would say about 80% or more of the cups were not servable. So, for instance, if I'm going to get a coffee for someone, it will take me way longer than it should to find an appropriate cup, and sometimes I might miss it. I might miss something, which happened. I get people sending coffee back all the time, or glasses of juice back, because there'd be lip prints on it, and sometimes you have to go so fast that you can't even check the quality, and literally that is the most frustrating thing ever. Not to mention what happens with the customers. Like, if you're going out to a restaurant, wouldn't you expect to have a clean cup? Like, isn't that just basic? The cutlery that would come out of there would be all covered in filth. There'd be chunks of food still attached to the cutlery, and it would just be shoved into a bucket, and when you went to set the table, you dig your hands in the cutlery, where your nail polish would chip off and go into it as well to join all that stuff. No one buffed the cutlery, no one dried the cutlery, so it literally, again, 80% of the cutlery was unusable, and most people would have to just use the cutlery that was so scratched and old that it had no shine left on it, so that you wouldn't be able to see the dirty, filmy water that had dried on there. So it's not that we gave people clean cutlery, it's the fact that you just couldn't tell it was dirty. That was just something that morally I felt so horrible about doing. The plates, obviously, that the food was served on would have had stuff on it, and it would be covered by the food that we served. So you can understand what I mean by how disgusting this really is, and it starts at the very basic point of having cleanliness, and that's what you would expect in a restaurant, and that was not what was delivered at this place. Let's just say that. I have another photo here of the coffee grinds that we recycle. And there's nothing wrong with recycling food. I think that's amazing. I wish we could give leftovers to homeless people, but unfortunately we can't. But so we recycle our perishable food, right? Now that's fine, but this was supposed to be taken out at night. And so when I get there, that has been sitting there for literally 12 hours, maybe less, but probably around 10 hours. You can imagine with all these kinds of things going on, the kind of bugs that you get. So now in the morning, I'd go to the bar and go to set up the bar area, and a big giant cloud of fruit flies would just rise because they'd be all sitting on all this filth. So I'd have to move it, and a big cloud of fruit flies would just emanate from it. And there would be fruit flies throughout the restaurant. So I'd be walking around, and sometimes a fruit fly would drown in my eyeball, and I would be obligated to pretend that nothing happened because I'm on the floor and I'm there presenting like a showman, I guess. And if it gets to me, that would get to the customer. But can you imagine a fruit fly drowning in your eye? Like that's the worst, honestly. And what really gets me is that the customers just kept coming back. Like, they would come back and just like swat flies away while eating, and I just couldn't believe it. I personally would be disgusted and leave the restaurant if I saw something like that or complain. But you'd be surprised at how many people just shrug it off. Another disgusting thing is they have a buffet. So the buffet is like laid out on Sundays for Sunday brunch. Now you can imagine that these fruit flies are sitting on this food that people are getting. Like, there would be cupcakes and you could see the flies crawling all over them. Oh man, like, it was just so horrible to work there. And I'm so happy that I'm not anymore. So basically I wanted to show you this to show you that these places exist. Make sure that the place that you're going to is clean, and if it's not, don't go there anymore. Like, that's the only way that businesses will change, is if their revenue goes down. If you're wondering about audits, for some reason, I believe, to my knowledge, that the restaurant that I worked at always seemed to know when an audit was going to happen, and then they would clean everything for that day. I mean, even then it wasn't like super clean, but it would be like almost up to code kind of thing. Like, I think they always seem to pass. And I don't know if that's corrupt or not. I'm not exactly sure, but they always seem to know when an audit was. So to me, that seems ridiculous. So I definitely no longer trust the auditing system and like how the health inspections work. So definitely take a look next time you go to a restaurant. Make sure that the cutlery is clean. Take a look at it. If it's not, then they don't deserve your business, honestly. I think, or if you're really grossed out like me, just don't go to restaurants anymore. Like, I'm super jaded and I don't even want to eat out most of the time because I don't know if it's clean or not, and I know that if I make it myself that it is. I hope you enjoyed my storytime video, and if you liked it, don't forget to like and subscribe to me for more storytime videos because I make quite a few. And I will see you in the next video. Leave me a comment on the worst experience you've ever had in a restaurant, and I will see you later. Bye!